Another series loss for the Chicago Cubs, but it's time to start having deeper conversations about how this organization is run.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is presented by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Wow. Visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now.
We're playing some
Later in the
down
show,
soon.
we talk about the Northwest Herald article about us, preview a special guest for our next episode, hot and cold over the last 10 days. Carter Hawkins needs to be released, and we start with Cubs-Cardinals. Cubs lose 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals over the weekend. They're now 67-50 on the year, 6 games out. That's 2 series worth of games of the NL Central. They do remain in the top spot in the wild card, but that lead is dwindling.
Well,
Only a game and a half over the Padres.
Forget it.
For the top spot. Cardinals won in a blowout Friday. Cubs won in a blowout Saturday, and the Cardinals with a close win Sunday. Sam, there's a lot from this series as the Cubs continue to underwhelm.
Yeah, I'm gonna open with something different. We'll get to the series in one sec. I just want to say this. Look, in 2023, things got off the rails early, and the comment was, "Oh, well, we dug ourselves too big of a hole, and then we retired in September." It was just long periods of not good baseball. Last year, 21-34 stretch, too big of a hole, etc. This year hasn't been that in terms of the record, but we are now going on 2.5 months, 55 games of mediocre baseball. Not 2.5, but about 2 months, 28-27. And, I thought a lot about this over the weekend because if you put me, and I'm only using me as an example because our listeners know me, if you put me in a high up spot in the front office or in a manager spot in the front office, I wouldn't do very well. Why? Because I'm too reactive, right? I'm too day to day. You can't operate like that in baseball or in professional sports with those type of athletes. But I was taught at a young age, too much of anything is not good. And there's another side of the spectrum, the exact opposite of me. And this organization is too much of that. It's too, let's just get him tomorrow. It's too, next man up. It's too, oh, well. It's too, well, we just got to hit. Hawkins, who you're going to talk about later. Hoyer and Carter and Counsell, they're all the same type of personality. You need different personalities. You need different perspectives. You need guys in there to challenge each other. So somebody that's more like me could say at the end of June, hey, these Brewers are coming, and they're coming fast. We need to do something because it doesn't matter how well we've played. We've got to find a way to hold them off. Hey, Jed, since you hired Counsell from the Brewers, they're 16 games better than we are. Something is wrong here. And don't tell me that this doesn't work. There was a guy by the name of, you might have heard of him. His name's Phil Jackson. He's got 11 reasons why he did what he did, especially with the Lakers. He used to call out guys in the media like Kobe all the time, challenge guys, right? He knew how to manage personalities. Yeah, he had great players. This organization, to me, Matt, it's too stand pat. It's too much of the same thing. Sit on your hands, wait for things to change, hope that they change, outperform expectations, talk about the 2032 season. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's just not good enough. And it says, Sam, what would you do differently? Call Ballesteros up. Call somebody up. Maybe just say something in the media. Hey, we need to be better than this. Kyle Tucker, Kyle knows he needs to be better. This is unacceptable. Do something to try and spark this team. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's talk about this fun series.
No, please don't apologize. And one idea I have that I shared with you in person with you on Saturday night at a local establishment as we hung out and they won actually during a hangout session. I would call up Owen Casey in his home country of Canada on Tuesday against the Blue Jays. I feel like that's appropriate pressure. That's a pressure cooker right there, but that's something that I would do.
Do something.
I feel like that's needed right now.
Urgency.
Right. Well, don't tell that to some of the broadcasters. So listen.
Yeah, well,
there is a lot from this series, but I must start with Pete Crow-Armstrong.
Yeah.
Okay. And this kid is 2 for his last 30. Now, it would be one thing if he just made a bunch of outs like that, 28 of them in this last stretch, and he was ice cold. But I just feel like right now it's a little more than that.
Yep.
And his body language, his reactions after all these outs, it's very up and down, mostly down. He's hard on himself, sure. You hope that counsel or someone else in the dugout is trying to talk him through that, help him out. But did Craig Counsell send not one but 2 messages to PCA on Sunday, Sam? This is a Cubs player who was an MVP candidate until 2 weeks ago. Alec Cohen keeps saying he should win the MVP. I don't know why, but he does. And that's fine. That's his prerogative. But did Craig Counsell send 2 messages to Pete on Sunday? 1, by not challenging the pickoff at second, and 2, pinch hitting for him in the 9th. I feel like there's a real inflection point with him right now.
No, I'm not going to give Counsell that type of credit.
Okay.
I don't think he sends messages. I think he just played the percentages with Pete. The percentages were down. Yeah, I was talking about this with my dad on the way home today while the game was going on. I just don't feel as strongly upset about Pete's struggles. You know, you asked me before the All-Star break, who needs to stay the same for this thing to go? And I said Pete, because it just his production just felt the flimsiest with how it was going. And I actually made a joke last week. I said, hey, if he goes 0 for his next 30, he's still having a good year. I didn't want to foresee that happening.
Wow, yeah.
But yeah, it's hurting the team right now.
Yeah, it is.
It shows you that outperforming expectations for 6 months isn't an actual thing. Guys are going to come back down to earth. But I just can't have a conversation about Pete until we get a conversation and just keep pounding the table about the right fielder, because that's the guy who's supposed to be masking this. I expect Pete to go through slumps. He's a 23-year-old kid who has no history of success offensively at the big league level. I expect Michael Busch to go through slumps. I know Seiya Suzuki's going to go through slumps. Kyle Tucker having 1 home run in the last 35 games or whatever it is completely wrecked this offense. It's wrecked it, Matt. It's wrecked it. And he's going to ask for $500 million? Enough already. Yes.
No, there's no way. It's going to start with a 4, maybe a 3.
Well, right now it should start with a 150,000. How's that? Because
that's below the salary minimum.
I mean, he has 1 home run in 30 plus games. He's supposed to be the guy that keeps you above water when everybody else is struggling. So yes, I hear you on Pete. It's been bad. It's really bad. I think his base running has been atrocious.
It's been invisible for the most part, and then when he tries things, it's been wrong.
But he's not on the top of my list because of his age and his lack of experience. The guy that's at the top of my list is number 30.
Well, let's keep going over this offense. There's their absolute slide. We'll go over the rest of this series, and then why Carter Hawkins must be fired this fall. We get into those 3 things right after this. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue, and so is this hat I'm wearing. For sports fans like me, this one hits the mark. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colors for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile styles that work on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. This maroon hat I got sent to me by Game Day Hue is actually the colors of the school I teach at. Excited to rock it this fall on Football Friday nights in the booth there as I do PA announcing at my school. Excited about that. And Game Day Hue sent me a golf glove in Cubs colors. This is their split shade glove made for the golf course, or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything golf related. Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue, HUE.com. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. Shout out to the everydayers. You can become a Locked On Cubs everydayer by joining us every episode throughout the week. Sam, I know you've backdating the Cubs results to the Tigers series. I'm just going to do it since June 19th, that second game of what ended up being a two-gamer because of the rainouts against the Brewers. They're 22-21 since June 19th, 10-11 since the break. Since last Friday against Baltimore, now 9 games, the Cubs have only scored 29 runs. And since the break, they're only 23rd in baseball in run scoring.
That'll turn around.
So this is definitely backed up by how Tucker is playing, certainly others in that group. And they've for now, for 2 months, have been an average club. If you look under the hood, it is mostly due to offense. I'm sure they've ebbed and flowed in the rotation, certainly in the bullpen, especially coming out of the break. But the offense is broken, and it's too bad, because one of the bigger stories right now on the positive end is offensively with Matt Shaw.
Yeah, it's been amazing,
and it hasn't mattered.
It's been amazing.
What else from this series?
That's how you deal with adversity, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I thought Imanaga, the 2-out hit to Walker was tough in the 7th, and then a bad pitch to Gorman to score the go-ahead run for the Cards. What else from this series?
Nothing. You just keep hammering home the same points, right? It's hey, Seiya, Bush, Pete, and Tucker, you need your stars to hit. Well, 3 of those 4 dudes weren't stars coming into the year. They were only stars because they had really good first 3 months.
Yeah, it was that period of the season, right?
Yeah, Tucker, it just is what it is. Dansby's hitting, Nico's hitting for the most part. Keller looked good. Ray had a nice outing. Boyd pitched better than what his line was Friday, but it's offensively, man. And it's just completely unbelievable that for the 3rd straight year, we just sit here and wait and see what happens. And I'm sorry. I can't, when my head hits that pillow in about, 20 minutes.
Wow.
What it's going to be thinking about is just, you went and got a guy from their team, and it's made a reverse difference. And they could say it's baseball. They could say it's like it. I mean, come on, Matt. You have a much more mild personality than I do. You have much more of a Craig Counsell personality. That's a pretty bad look, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
They're breaking records, having the greatest stretch ever, and it's when I don't know. It's just the whole thing.
Well, it's constant. How many big win streaks have they had? 4?
And at the same time, you just do the same thing. And I got to tell you, we talked about this a little bit over a couple of burgers on Saturday night.
Yeah, literally.
This Padres team's better than the Cubs. And it feels like
right. They're shooting for the top wild card spot.
Yeah, and I think to beat them in a series, because the Cubs are going to make the playoffs. By the way, people say they're going to make the playoffs. I'll say it again. They're going to. Because of the weakness of the 3rd spot. I mean, the Mets, the Reds, the Cardinals, the Giants. Yeah, they're going to make it. But I don't like their chances going into San Diego at all.
Going into San Diego, no.
So they got to hold them off. They got to start winning some games.
They got to be at Wrigley, I think.
We can't keep complaining about the Brewers until the Cubs win some games and put together. They've had one good stretch since early to mid-June. That was that 5-1 homestand against Cleveland and the Cardinals. They're 5-5, by the way, now this year against the Cardinals.
Well, I'm past the point of checking the Brewers scores.
Well, I'm checking it as a baseball fan, just seeing like what's happening here.
Right.
Like, are they going to rattle? Are they going to get to 107? That's all. It's like, what's happening? That's all luck, right?
Just wait
and see what happens.
This would be a move to combat waiting and seeing what happens when you send a runner 0-0. I've never been a fan of stealing 0-0.
Yeah.
Even in high school ball. It was too bad that John Birdie got thrown out in the ninth, 0-0 to Horner.
Yeah, I would have loved. I think it was safe, but
usage.
Yeah,
in League Baseball, that sort of thing is the wrong usage of replay. But it's still to go on that.
100%.
I was uncertain.
First of all, the ump missed the call. It's not he didn't call him out because he came off the bag. He thought he got him out, and he didn't.
Yeah, he beat him. The ball beat him. Yeah.
I just love in that spot using Nico's contact ability. I would have loved to see Birdie not worry about stealing the bag and just tell Nico, hey, just put this ball in play. I would have loved to see it, especially 1-0, 2-1, but we don't play that type of baseball. We did the other day against the Reds. Justin Turner got a huge hit, little hit and run, 3-2, but we don't believe in that type of baseball. We just wait and see.
Imanaga's start was encouraging from a velo perspective, pitch usage. I don't know if he even hit a wall at the end. It was just a bad pitch or two. I think now he's looked good 2 times in a row and then some. Colin Ray on a hot night Saturday, encouraging. Matthew Boyd was hit around a bit on Friday in a shutout loss. The Imanaga stuff is encouraging, right, at this point?
I think so. I thought he pitched really well.
Because he probably tipped against the Sox.
I think so.
I think we're maybe getting some intel on that.
I think so.
You could read between the lines on that.
Yeah, he looked really good. He looked really good tonight. I mean, 3 runs, you should be able to win that baseball game. The biggest positive story right now is Matt Shaw and Cade Horton, those 2 guys.
Shaw's hitting 333 since the break.
It's been awesome. I actually thought he was going to get a hit in the 9th. I was, first of all, surprised they kept Romero in.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to get a hit. I genuinely thought he was going to get a hit. I really did.
All right, let's talk about Carter Hawkins. He had a wildly inappropriate quote to Jesse Rogers of ESPN last week. And if you look at the similarities between Counsell, Hoyer, and Hawkins, I do think the latter needs to go this offseason. We're going to explain why right after this.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. MVP races. Pete's out of the MVP race. It's going to go to Ohtani in baseball. From a football perspective, this year, if I had to pick one, if I had a little bit of a hunch, I'd go with Joe Burrow. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game.
Carter Hawkins was hired as general manager in October of 2021. He hired by Jed Hoyer as Cubs general manager. And his big line all these years, especially at the many Cub conventions, has been solving for wins. And talking to Jesse Rogers of ESPN last week, he said this, quote, this is regards to the trade deadline, quote, it's hard when you see other teams you're competing with get really good players, but those aren't decisions you're making in the moment. They're decisions you're making over the course of the week and month. It takes some discipline, especially in a moment when you see things moving that way. But we were able to stick to our approach and felt really good about the additions we were able to make. Teams are trying to find that guy that can lock down the 8th or 9th inning, but that also costs a lot. That cost a lot of future wins. We have a responsibility, the 2025 Cubs and also the 2032 Cubs.
I thought I missed it.
That's not always popular in the moment, but it's decisions we have to make. Close quote. Sam,
I walked off. I walked off when you said it.
Really?
You talk. Yeah, I walked off. I can't listen.
I'm in
to
a
it.
separate tab when I usually read to the class.
I walked off.
Sam, we found the person that is hurting the organization, I think. I believe it's Carter Hawkins. He's not the right influence on the president of baseball ops and Jed Hoyer.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you take this because this is what I opened with. You can't have three dudes.
He needs to go.
You can't have.
They're the same. They're basically the same person.
You can't have three dudes that have the same type of personality running your organization. You have to have good, creative conflict to push each other. And I just when I saw that quote,
it's sickening. And Council is signed for 3 more years after this. Hoyer for 5.
In 2032, I'll be 65 years old.
Well, exactly. And Carter Hawkins, I don't know what his status was. Did he get extended 2 weeks ago too? Because if he did, that's a problem, and he needs to go.
Well, but here's the thing.
Seriously. He should go just for the quote alone.
But here's the thing. The quote's bad.
Who cares what happens in 7 years?
The quote's bad. The timing of the quote, the tone deafness of the quote illustrates to me that he doesn't get it. And you're right, because Jed would never say something like that.
No, Jed is more practical than that.
For him to say that publicly, after the deadline, while this team continues, in 2 weeks they'll be 12 out. It's reprehensible.
You know who doesn't like to see that quote? I'll tell you who.
Tom Ricketts.
Dansby Swanson. Justin Steele. Nico Horner. Pete. What, as a player, why would you get any reassurance from the person running the team you play for, one of the people running the team that you play for, that references a season
you won't be
7 years into the future?
Well, Anthony Rizzo confirmed that on his podcast with Johnny Manziel, where he was talking about, this was before the deadline, how deflating it was some years when the Cubs didn't get guys that they thought they could, and what a lift was when you were the best team and then you went out and got the best guy. He talked about that. And so imagine what he would think going, wait, we're on pace to win 95 wins. We got a chance. Oh, they're worried about 7 years from now. Is there anybody currently on the team that's even contracted to be on the team 7 years from now?
No.
I mean, it is that quote summarizes everything I was talking about in the beginning and summarizes my problem with the organization. And it's not a bad organization, by the way. It's not a bad one. It's
no.
It's just one that feels like it's being held back by that type of personality, that type of philosophy, that type of perspective. And as a fan, boy, I got to tell you, worrying about I got to tell you, that's one of the worst quotes I've ever heard in all my years of watching professional sports. For an executive, while your team has a chance to win a championship, after a failed trade deadline, to come out and say it's also about a team 7 years from now, I mean, I really genuinely think he should apologize.
Yeah, I don't think that's a reach. Someone definitely needs to follow up in the scrum, whether that's at Wrigley next time or wherever Carter Hawkins speaks again. Sometimes he does a hit on the score. or 1,000.
Yeah, I don't listen to those much. They're not really, it's not like listening to Don Rickles or Eddie Murphy or Sebastian Maniscalco or any of the great entertainers. It's not must listen radio.
Also, if you really want to zoom in on some of these cats in the minors,
do we have to?
What about Owen Casey says that he's going to be some great player in 7 years? Because Carter Hawkins is inferring, Casey, Ballesteros, all these dudes, they're going to be part of the next great Cubs team. Do you have a crystal ball?
I do. It's good.
That's why I have trouble hearing about value for deals. There's shows at the deadline, Sam, that a trade was made that go, what did we give up for him? Who cares? Who cares what you gave up? Well, we're trying to win now.
Well, first of all,
excuse me for yelling.
I've been yelling all episode. And folks, by the way, we want this to work. But when you're doing this, you got to call it like it is. Yeah, I'm thrilled the Cubs are still going to make the playoffs. I'll celebrate when they clinch. Of course they will. You don't think I'm going to be pacing in front of the TV? Maybe I'll do a watch long. One of those 3-game series be the biggest game I've ever covered in my life.
I still think I got my notebook out, Sam, Sunday night tonight, and I manually did research about Boyd, Imanaga, and Horton in regards to a certain stat of the Cubs offense, backing up my premise of if those guys are on, they really could beat anybody. I did that. Why? Because I believe that.
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't know if they could beat anybody when Kyle Tucker is one more homer than you and I do.
They'd have to beat someone 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, 4-3. But
fun. Couple things, just closing out the Hawkins.
Well, I do think they could do it, though. I do.
Okay.
I think it might be delusional right now.
No, it's not delusional. It's not delusional. I want it to happen too.
Yeah.
I think that, first of all, we do have a crystal ball. And in 2032, I'm not sure Carter Hawkins is going to be the general manager.
Well,
of this
how do you
team.
know if there's even going to be baseball in 2032? What if the sport goes away forever after this next CBA?
Well, let's not say that.
Well, I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
I'm performing.
That's a bad take.
When Theo Epstein came in,
that's your opinion.
When Theo Epstein came in 2000 and for the 2012 season to run this,
right, that was the first baseball season under him, right?
This club that was clearly in a rebuilding year or rebuilding time. He had a 3-year plan. He talked about 3 years, right? 12, 13, 14.
He was very transparent.
He was very transparent. The Cubs were on pace to win like 93, 94 games, and our general manager was talking about 7 years from now. It was mind-boggling. I'll never forget that.
Too bad.
I'll never forget that. And I agree. If this season ends up, let's just put some facts or not facts, but support behind your comment. If this season ends up with a one and done best of 3 wild card loss, I do believe Carter Hawkins will be relieved of his duties unless he got extended with Jed.
Over the weekend, an article dropped on the show from the Northwest Herald. Shout out to Joe Aguilar, who wrote the story. Sam, we're going to share a little bit about this.
Amazing job by Joe.
So what can we say about this? Well, first of all, the link to it is in this episode description. Would love if you checked it out. And yeah, it just it's a little overwhelming. In a good way. Really appreciate the audience. This is now 3 times just in the last, I don't think it's even been a month, Sam. Athletic Survey, 7th inning stretch by Chris Jacobs, and now the Northwest Herald article. That's
Chris Jacobs you might see pretty soon.
Really put the show into it's put the show into a new perspective and a larger context for me. And I do think the show has grown. Obviously since July 5th, 2022, but even just in the last 4 or 5 weeks. And to have this article really telling our origin story was really, really cool. And maybe we could have Joe on, some point here too. But what was your reaction when you read this? It was emotional for me.
Yeah, I just thought it was really well written.
Great writing.
And I really enjoyed it. And I think about that stuff during times like these because, we're very blessed to be able to cover this team. And,
this is still greatest fan base on the planet.
Yeah.
Crown jewel franchise.
Right. But it's been.
Well, it is.
Yeah, no, it is.
I don't care if they're hitting 107 right now. It is.
Well, I thought Joe tied Kyle Tucker in home runs since the end of June with this article. It was a home run. It was really well. Fun. It was really well done, and it speaks to you and I and our relationship and our chemistry. And
right,
it's a really good read, and I'm glad that things are going well. And I hope that we can have a fun close to this season.
Yeah, one of the larger reasons why this show has grown is because of our friendship, and really cool that the audience has latched onto that as well. And we talked about athletic survey, 7th inning stretch, Northwest Herald article. On our next episode, we are scheduled to be joined by Chris Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Matt Cozy and Sam Olber, hosts of my favorite podcast, Locked On Cubs.
Jacobs is going to join us for, I think, an entire episode. And he gave us that shout out last month. And we're going to learn more about him. And he's going to co-host with us for 30 minutes. And that's going to be really, really cool. So looking forward to that, Sam. I know you've still been in touch with him.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of exciting things ahead this week and beyond. We'll also preview Cubs Blue Jays.
Uh-oh.
And we will not be giving our take on the kid umpire. This is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on the Locked On MLB channel on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Go Cubs.